So I feel the sort of saying, it's not what you know, but who you know, is becoming a lot more apparent in recent years, right? And, for this video, I'm going to talk about the sort of reason why your competitors are surpassing you. And I think it's important that we have this conversation because a lot of the time, I think when it comes down to seeing what we can do to improve our situation, no matter what it is, we know what it is. We know exactly what the situation is as to why things aren't necessarily working. The difference is, and the difference between those who sort of thrive in the industry and those who don't, is based on the fact that when you understand what that thing is that is holding you back or stopping you from doing the thing, are you going to rise above it and actually do it and resolve it, or are you going to just put it under the carpet each and every time? Wherever you fit within that idea, right, is where you will ultimately end up, right? And if we keep it real, this applies to absolutely everything in life. It doesn't matter whether you're a business owner, it doesn't matter whether you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, 9 to 5, corporate working, whatever the case. We all know what we need to do. If you are opting not to do it because of whatever reason that may be, you will then stay in the same place. Whereas those who then identified what that thing is, but then looked a lot more deeper into it to then figure out, okay, I know that this is a particular thing that is blocking me or stopping me from getting to the next stage. This is what I'm going to be doing to figure out exactly how I can resolve it and become a lot better for it. Those are the people that are always going to exceed expectations when it comes down to being able to do the thing. And it will just be a case of naturally that will just be the cycle of events forever if we're keeping it real. Right. Today I'm just gonna be straight up with you. I'm gonna be very much honest, and you know, whether you like it or not, respectfully, it's in your best interest to hear this. So if you are interested in hearing more about this, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm going to give you some hard truths. You might not like it, but it's necessary for you to continue to grow. And if you are watching this and you're thinking, who am I to be speaking about this? Like, what makes me qualified to talk about this? My name is Tariq Peters, right? I'm a brand authority strategist, and I'm also an accredited PR practitioner, right? I work with B2B founders and advisors to help them build a level of brand authority, which is your personal brand, your business brand, and your campaign brand. When you multiply those and you align those all together, that gives you a level of brand authority that makes you more visible and credible to your desired target audience, that will drive more leads into your business and then more clients and ultimately more revenue for your business. I've been in the industry for almost a decade now, and I left my full-time role in July 2024 to go on the journey of building a 7-figure brand in 1,000 days. And a lot of the things I've been working on and doing as a result of me producing more content has allowed me to understand all the things that I'm about to tell you. So it's in your best interest. Grab a water, tea, coffee, whatever, and let's have a real conversation, right? So, like I said, you know exactly what you need to do when it comes down to improving your opportunity, whether it comes down to more prospects, whether it comes down to just generating more business for more revenue, whether it comes down to amplifying your profile to get more opportunity off the back of your brand. There's so many different things that you may want to be doing or that you've considered doing, and there's been a particular blocker, right? For whatever reason that may be, there's been a blocker into what you've been doing. And like I said, there's going to be people that are going to kind of put that under the rug for another day, or people that are going to tackle it head on, right? And if I use myself for an example, I knew how important the idea of content was for many years. For many years, I understood the importance of content. From when I started blogging and I started writing as a music journalist many, many years ago, I realized that content is important. And in short, content is important because you are then in a position of being able to hit one to many, right? That is the new game that we are living in now. One to many. You can, by all means, do one to one, but no one has the time, the capacity to be able to be doing that on a consistent, frequent basis in order to get their content and their messaging across to the right people at the right time. So now content is just something that is just now part of life, right? It's part of the way that we live now, especially if you are in a position where you are looking to build a business, right? A revenue generating business, and you're looking to showcase yourself as a key person of influence and the obvious choice for you to get said opportunity. You have no choice but to be developing content, right? And the only reason why you would not be producing content is if you have someone within your team who is developing content on behalf of the business. That is the only way. If you are a solopreneur, right, and you are working on your business, right, you have no reason to not be producing content and getting your face out there and putting in the work that will ultimately get you more visible and credible in the places where you need to get to, right? The only way that doesn't apply to you is if you are in a business, right, and you actually have a co-founder who is actively putting out their brand and putting themselves out there. That is the only way that really works. If you're someone who doesn't necessarily like the limelight or doesn't like the idea of content, that is fine. But then you need to be in a position where you have someone else that is effectively building their brand on behalf of the business in the grand scheme of things. But if you are working for yourself, you have no positioning to talk about how you don't want to produce content. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense in this particular climate that we're living in, right? And when it comes down to the idea of content, you have to understand that this is a new way of living, and it's going to stay like this for a very, very long time because ultimately people now understand that they need to be more visible in order to be seen, right? It seems obvious until you say it and you're like, okay, it makes sense. But then, like I always talk about with the personal branding deadline, right, the 30th of November 2027, it will be very apparent that everyone will have the skills, everyone will have the tools, and everyone will have the idea that they need to be able to make content in order to get more eyes on them for a desired opportunity that they want later down the line. On the basis of that, everyone will be making content, right? I'm new to this game, right? I've seen loads of people make content, like it's not new. However, everyone is now making content. So now it's not a problem about being visible. We have all the sort of tools available to us to make it a lot more easier to get ourselves out there and to produce the content. The thing that's going to make it a thing where you need to focus on, as well as being more visible, is being more credible, having that level of third party credibility, having people that can advocate for you, being featured in different press, different publications, different podcasts, talking about all the things that make you uniquely you in order for you to continue to build your brand. So in a sea of sameness, right, you need to be the one to use your level of credibility to stick out. And that is the way that you'll be able to get opportunities in order for you to stand out, right? In compared to your competitors, to stand out over your competitors. And if you are not producing content right now, then you are playing a losing game. You're playing a losing game and you're playing a losing battle because you are amongst a sea of people who are producing content now at a rapid rate, at an extremely rapid rate. However, you are in a unique position where you can see what people are doing. You can see what people are doing. You are able to see what is working for some people and what's not working for others, right? I done a video speaking about the importance of understanding your content outliers. You are in a unique position where you are able to see the content outliers for all various different people within your niche and your industry. You're able to see the content that generates opportunity for them, that generates mass engagement, that you see that gets lots of likes and comments and all those sort of things, you are able to see it from a lens where you can then adopt the idea of content off of the back of what everyone else is doing right now. Everyone is so caught up on their own sort of content because they're doing it in real time. If you haven't started yet, you are in a unique position where you can actually see and do all the necessary market research to suggest what works and what doesn't. But at the end of the day, you need to get started in order for it to actually start to compound. You need to get started in order to understand what the actual data and the analytics is telling you, whether the video is good, whether it's bad, what you can do to improve it, what you can do to refine it, how you are able to build your own content outliers. All these things count, but you have to get started. You cannot be in a position where you are expecting life-changing results and you're not producing content now. I'm sorry to say, but that's just how the game is now. It's how the game is now. And that's the reason why I took it upon myself to really get to grips with being comfortable on camera to be able to produce more content. Because when I speak about the personal branding deadline, I'm not exempt from it. I am not exempt. I'm in the same boat as everyone else. That's why I understand that it is in my best interest to get over my fears of producing content, to get over the anxiety that I would have had previously about what people may think or what people may say. Their thoughts and their feelings about what I do has little to no impact on my revenue and my income. So it doesn't make any sense to be pondering about the thoughts of others when you know that this particular medium of producing content is the only thing right now that's going to shift everything for you, because more people are able to see you. You are able to then utilize the video content or content overall in a way that dictates how you are able to present yourself further down the line as far as content is concerned. All the content I'm doing now, and like I said, I talk about your personal brand, your business brand, and your campaign brand. This is my campaign brand. Me dropping content every single day is my campaign brand, because I know that this is the thing that is going to align and connect the dots for everything else I'm going to be doing moving forward. So it's in my best interest to act now or continue to be in the background whilst everyone else is producing content and finding pockets of opportunity just because they got started. So I cannot I cannot scream enough. You need to get started. You need to build your brand. You need to focus on building your level of brand authority before it's too late. I always talk about this, but every so often I have to do another video like this to reinforce how important it is for you to be in a position where you are producing content. Because no matter what industry you're in, there's no industry in the world now where you are exempt from making content, because your competitors are making content, right? Your peers are making content. The industry leaders are making content. The biggest sort of business gurus in the world are making content, and they are actually telling everyone, telling everyone that you need to be making content as well, because that is where everything is shifting towards, where content is king in this grand scheme of things. And if you are able to effectively use the content in a way that can develop your level of visibility, and you incorporate that with what I mentioned with the PR to allow you to get the credibility, it all allows you to bring it all back to the point where you are able to generate revenue, and you are then able to build a predictable, consistent pipeline of opportunity off of the back of the content and off the back of what you are doing, right? So I cannot stress enough. I cannot stress enough that it is a matter of urgency to get into the game of producing content as soon as feasibly possible. I wish I was joking when I say it, because like when I started, you could even go back to my first few videos. You could see the nerves, the anxiousness, the sweat on my hands and everything. I was a wreck. I was a wreck, but it was only because I knew I had to force myself to understand that this is a now or never situation. This is a now or never situation. I cannot be speaking about my plan to be building a 7-figure brand in 1,000 days if I didn't plan to have content involved in the process. Otherwise, it wouldn't be feasible. It wouldn't be possible. It'll be a pipe dream. It'll be me talking about all the things I want to do without actually doing the work. So if I bring it all back to where this actual video started in this conversation, right? Just understand that everyone around you is trying right now. Like they're putting out the content and they're giving it a good go. And in the initial stages, you may look at them and think that nothing is really connecting or nothing's really hitting when it comes down to the content they're producing. But you don't understand that you are behind on the basis that you don't have data to work with. Some people have years, decades of data, which got them to the point where they were able to produce the winning formula, right? Some people, it takes less. Some people, they manage to get the winning formula on their 50th video, maybe their 100th video. Some people, it may take longer. But the whole point of the matter is that they decided to ultimately begin and get started in order for them to be able to follow the journey, to start being able to capture the data, to be able to read the data, to see what's working from what's not working, to the point where it just took one video that just changed the whole trajectory of their life off the back of they just got started and they were trying in the times when people were maybe laughing at them or they were thinking that why is this person doing this or looking at them weird or whatever the case. They kept going at it. They kept going at it until the point where they were deemed as the key person of influence and the obvious choice. And not solely for their circle, but for the wider network and the wider industry that they are part of, right? So this is super important. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what business you're in, if you are not putting content out, you are doing yourself a disservice and you are not allowing yourself the opportunity to grow to become that person that you are meant to be. So please, 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 please get into the motion of producing content, however that looks like for you, right? I will not advocate for anyone to be doing daily videos like myself, right? Unless you really feel that way inclined to do it, do it. However, I would only recommend as an absolute once a week. Once a week. If you're committed to the cause, if you are committed to the cause and you are looking to develop and build your brand to where you are at now, to where you want to be, once a week. Leave the daily videos to me so I can share this with you to reinforce why you need to do it. Because I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping one bit. I'm going every single day. So, with that, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if this helps. And please comment below if you've watched this and you have now decided that you are going to embark on the journey of producing content. Because right now, like I said, we don't have time to waste and we really need to be getting this started before the personal branding deadline hits, right? So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are even subscribed just to follow my journey and to watch me produce the content, just to kind of help you to get in the position of producing content as well, that's completely fine. Also, check out my Substack as well because I post content on there all the time as well. So, on that note, thank you again for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Look after yourself.